So today on Project Shop, we have a bunch of bins full of scrap, and we have a, let's say 99% clean table. So I'm just gonna start bringing over bins, and we're gonna go through this stuff. There's all kinds of stuff in here, man. We got all kinds of copper nuggets. Looks like some iron aluminum, some straight up aluminum. I don't know. We're just going to have to get into it. We've got some BX, some copper wire, some big nuggets down there. Look at that thing. Giant rotors. Yeah, there's just a bunch of everything. And I probably have 3 bins like this. So it's about time to get rid of this stuff. We're just going to start on the top, man, and, you know, go through it. Some of the stuff, like the wire, this stuff I'll throw over there. I have a pile of this. Yeah, hopefully we'll find some copper. I don't know. I think there's some nuggets of something down in here. Not sure, but we'll surely find out here in a second. And this was a ticket from the other day. Now, unfortunately, I was only able to get to one customer. The other guy rescheduled, so I kind of went down to Miami. Well, I had to get rid of some stuff and go pick up some oil and a little bit of scrap. But my main guy that I was supposed to see rescheduled till next week. So basically, this is, man, I had a problem. All my 3 lights that I put over here that I bought from Harbor Freight have completely stopped working. So I don't know what the deal is with that. I did buy a warranty on one of them. I'm hoping it was a 2-year warranty because I had those up for a while. If not, we're just going to go buy a brand new one. And then, you know, we'll swap them out on a warranty issue. Not sure why they stopped, but it is definitely darker under here. So we had 55 pounds of clean extrusions. $1.25 a pound. That's a good price for that. $68.75. Compressors iron. Now, I'm glad I decided to separate these because I've been throwing them in with the irony for a while. 51 pounds, 25 cents a pound. So that's like a new item. I don't really get a lot of them. And if I only have like 1 or 2 and I got a bunch of cast, I'll throw them in with the cast. But if you got a bunch of them, that they do have their own price. $12.75. Electric motors number 1. 134 at 32 cents a pound for 42.88. Bear Bright copper, 29 pounds, $4.25. So that's holding out pretty good. 123.25. 6063 with iron, 17 pounds, 85 cents a pound. That's a good price for that. 14.75. Cast aluminum, 78 pounds, 66 cents a pound, 51.48. Number 2 copper, 118 pounds, $4.05 a pound, $477.90. And then old sheet aluminum, 220 pounds, 66 cents a pound, $145.20 for $936.66. Literally like $64 shy of $1,000. That's okay. We got a little change in our pocket. Still got a little bit of stuff to pull that was left over on the table. That's pretty much all that was left. We literally cleared everything that was here. So we're going to start right here with this aluminum thing full of, man, you know what that was? That was that thing that came with all those electronic, where I got all them gold finger boards from. And I know why it's in here. It is super tedious. Let's see here. I think I'm going to have to go grab another light. Wow. What's great about this is it's got 2 huge heat sinks, extruded aluminum, and got a bunch. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 transformers. Now the only problem is, because I've done one of these before, I know for a fact this is some tedious stuff. We got a lot of flatheads on the bottom. Maybe we can separate this stuff. Okay. All right. Oop. I can just imagine how much something like this would have cost. This was, I think this had to do with the lighting system at like the Florida Panthers. That's a nice piece of aluminum. We got to get a sheet aluminum thing going. Ooh, that sucks. I might be able to get them out. There's like some inserts. I might be able to drive them out. So my yard, the clean extrusions is the only category other than like bright and shiny where I have to make sure it is extremely clean, like no screws whatsoever. I don't know how they would assemble this thing. Very, very tedious, and probably by hand. Wow. Man, look at that board. pretty sure these things here got copper. These little, whatever they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 transformers and some decent sized wire that I will definitely be pulling out. Alright, let's see if we can't clean this thing up. See why this is spinning. No. Spinning on the other side. A little pressure in there. There we go. Okay, that is a nice piece of extrusion. Got another one here, and I think these little pieces are either copper or brass. I gotta find my magnets. No, no. Okay, that's copper. That's copper. Those are not. So this is some real tedious stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and just time lapse this. This is gonna be a minute. I'll get this all broke down and I'll get some bins for aluminum. Yeah, we'll start putting some money in the bucket. Oh, real quick, I wanted to show you guys this. I saved this. This came out of one of those AC compressors that I used a plasma cutter to cut open. This was the stator that was inside of it. Check this out. It's like put together with links, and it literally just unfolded, right? And the copper just fell right out. It's almost like a chain link. I thought that was very interesting. The first time I seen one like that. Let me know if you guys have ever come across something like this. I mean, I've done quite a few of those AC compressors, and I've never come across anything like this. It's very interesting. Seems kind of like way over engineered, if that makes sense. Trying to figure out how this stuff comes apart. Like, is there a pin in there, or is it just... Yeah, I guess there's a small pin in there. What a weird way of making these, man. Anyway, figured I'd show you that. I thought it was pretty cool. Throw that right with the prepared steel. And, yeah. So, come across all kinds of coolness. This here, I believe, is just straight up aluminum. Go with that. Let's see what else we got real quick. Bunch of computer board stuff, a little transformer. I'll probably pull that off. Straight cast aluminum. We got a copper aluminum transformer. Looks like bunch of transformers in here. Look at this. That one might be. Oh, that one's interesting. Looks like we got another copper aluminum or double aluminum. Yeah, copper aluminum. Interesting. I didn't know I had transformers in there. We have this, which I believe has a transformer in it. And then some, looks like some ballast, more gold. Look at that shiny gold, man. Aren't these things here, aren't you supposed to take these off? I don't know. I got a ton of these. They actually came with that system. And do you guys sell this as is, or do you depopulate all these little things off of there? Looks like a lot of gold in there, man. Anyway, we're gonna sort all this out, and we'll come back when we get ready to pull some copper. All right, we're back at it. It's another day, and we have this. I can only think this is a water chiller, so I'm assuming there's going to be a compressor in there. Hopefully it's got some copper. A lot of screws to get this thing apart. Looks like we might get a little copper aluminum radiator. Hopefully. It's not all aluminum. Oh yeah. Okay. I gotta get a grinder. Nice brass compression fittings. I gotta find me some glasses. What? I don't know if this is going to get hot enough, but it's soldered on there. No. Okay. Nice chunk of stainless steel. Okay. Getting a little nuggets in our copper bucket. I'll have to process that a little further. Okay. I'm gonna have to evaluate at the end of the day how much of this number 1 I'm actually accumulating, because I might separate it out. Usually I don't get a lot of copper pipe. If I start doing, I plan on doing more AC stuff. Let's see what's inside here. I'll definitely have to start separating that stuff out. Okay, this is some kind of switch. Got some brass. I have to get my brass bucket over here. Oh, I think I got it right here. Yeah, okay. Gonna have to get a new steel bucket soon. Alright, let's see what we got here. Always some iron. Now, if I was doing a lot of these, to me that's number 1 copper. And the noodles on the other side are number 2 copper. You separate them out, you know, if you got a good way of doing it. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to have enough to do a separate bucket. I mean, if we're talking 2 or 3 pounds, the 10 cents really is not worth like separating it. I got a couple small ones of these over here I'll add that with. Okay, and then we have the compressor. I might come across more of these today. I'm not sure. So I'm just going to push that to the side for now. I don't know about this motor here. It's got what looks like just bent tabs. Okay. See what else we got here. Sweet. I assume this is some type of fan motor. Of course, it's got safety things on it. Okay. Let's see what we got here. It's got two nice little transformers in there. Okay. So the rest of the stuff is going to be pretty much some tedious stuff, pretty basic. I'm going to blow through this on time lapse and try to get to the bottom of this thing. I want to basically clear this bin. So it looks like it might be just a little bit of sorting here and there. There's some extrusions, but so much glass involved. I don't know if I'm going to deal with that. And we have this thing. I can't get that out. I'll have to get it out later. I'll get it up on the table and show you what it is. All right, that was one bin, completely emptied. Now the last little bit was like real tedious. There might have been a little bit of aluminum, a couple little strands of copper, a bunch of dust and dirt. It all just went right with the shred. This is the last thing I'm going to be taking apart. Now, unfortunately, I looked at this and like, wow, it looks like a bunch of stainless. Not so. That is magnetic stainless, unfortunately. But there is a couple bits of brass, copper. I think this is like a, they call this Cooper nickel or something. Or it might be stainless. The last one I got, I just threw it with the stainless steel. But there's a few things I want to show you real quick. One, these things here. Now, I've had a bunch of these come in with like the automatic transfer switches. They come in like a row. They're all stacked together like this. Okay, and then what I found is, you know, I took one apart and it was actual stainless. Let me see. That's crazy. Some of them rocks down I'm standing on are magnetic. This is a very powerful, I don't know where this magnet came from, but I love it. It's super powerful. So this stuff up here is steel. This is actually copper. Okay. This one, this particular one here, is real stainless steel. Now, which one? You just gotta bust them open, and that one there has a, I believe that's a piece of copper. So this is like, yeah, that's copper. So I mean, that one there is a nice chunk of copper. If I had a bunch of them, I'd be taking them apart. These unscrew pretty easy. I mean, I beat that with a hammer. It's kind of bent, but, and that thing weighs, man. That would be worth breaking apart. If you got nothing to do and you're into micro scrapping, you get some nice clean stainless, bits of wire, and some number 2 copper, right? And I've gotten tons of these. Normally, I'll send these with the shred. I think what I'm going to do is pull them off, and once I figure out the problem with the incinerator, we'll cook them off with a bunch of circuit breakers. So I did pull a bunch of breakers. Here's a 100 amp. This is a 100 amp. I got some 400 amps. They're like 5 times, 6 times bigger than this. And that's a double 100. So does that mean this is 100 and 100 or 50 and 50? That's a good question. Another 100 amper. Okay, those will be for processing down the road. Then I found a couple chunks. There's a huge chunk of copper there. That's a chunk of copper. I found this in there. That's a huge chunk of silver. So we'll set that aside for our silver. And then these are for solenoids, okay? These actually, and they're really easy to process. You just crack this plastic stuff. And there's a huge chunk of number 2 copper in there. Yeah. Heck yeah, man. See, and stuff like that, man. That's like brass. So we definitely got to get that incinerator going. That way we can cook off some of this stuff. But let's take a look at this thing for now. I don't know what I do with my gloves, but okay. Man, that's a shame. It's a nice piece of metal, but fortunately it is not stainless steel. And we got this thing over here. Some type of controller in there. Battery's dying. There we go. This has a nice heat sink, and I guess that's a water cooler. All right, a couple transformers, electric motor. When in doubt, pry it out. Wow. So I've been depopulating these transformers with the back of my hammer. Wow, that about fell right apart. Nice chunk of number 2 copper. Okay. 2 more little transformers. Don't know if they're really worth it. Yeah, I think that's almost beyond micro scrapping. Toroidal transformers. The rest of this I'm just gonna throw with the computer boards. So I found 2 laptops as well. I guess it'd help if I took all the screws out. Brass inserts. I hate giving up the brass, but what are you gonna do with all that plastic? Sometimes things are too tedious. These are probably brass fittings. I mean, I'll send that with the dirty brass. We got time for all that. All right, now. Those are some nice pieces. Now this thing here, I guess they drilled a hole and then drilled other holes through it to circulate the water. It's pretty interesting how they do that. I believe this is like the MLC, the mixed low copper clips or whatever they call it. If it was clean, let's see if we can't clean it up. We got the sun coming out over here. It's funny, we had our, seemed like we had our 1 week of cold already. Now it's right back to being hot. Copper, look at that. Oh, this is one of those sticky, it's like a little computer board or something, but it's a copper plate. I'll throw that right in the number 2 copper. But I believe this goes with the same stuff that's like, that same stuff that's on the BX cable. It's like the same price, I think. I don't know. I'm going to keep this separate. Wow, that's nice. They milled that. You can see the mill marks, and then they chamfered the edge. Wow. Now this one, two nice chunks right there. And then I believe these are going to be stainless set screws, but I'm actually going to keep these. I'm going to put them in the goodie bucket. So this is going to be another one of those solenoids like I just showed you. That's number 2. Well, that's metal. We can clean that up, and that can go with the clean brass or the brass breakage. I'll have to start a breakage pile. Nice little chunk right there. You know what's crazy? And it almost feels like it's true when I do this. Years ago, I had an old timer tell me, and I thought he was full of crap. And I'm gonna have to experiment with a really good scale to do this. He said that if you had a big pile of wire like this, right, and it's all spread out, and you throw it on a scale, say it weighs 5 pounds. He was trying to convince me that if you tighten that up and squeezed it together, that it would actually weigh more on the scale. Now, holding this in my hand, it almost feels heavier rather than it being all spread out. It's very interesting. We're gonna have to do some experimentation with that. Let me know if you guys ever heard of that. I thought the guy was full of crap. You know, so I want to try that on a couple different scales. Anyway, let's see what we got here. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately that whole thing is shred. Oh. Okay, I'll have to leave that. if that did anything. I don't know what that red stuff was. Looks like red Loctite. That's a nice chunk of brass there. Okay, I'm gonna have to put that in the vise to do the next one, but this piece here, I believe, is all stainless. Yeah, this isn't Cooper nickel. This is stainless and copper, or maybe it is Cooper nickel. I don't know. Does nickel spark when you put a grinder on it? I'm not sure, but I'll get that off. I'll probably just wind up cutting that with the jaw and be done with it. There's a bunch of stuff over here that needs some jaw liberation. These things here, these are LEDs. I usually cut the ends off. I'll cut the whole end off. This one here is sheet aluminum. This is a ballast. I throw that with the electronic ballast, and I throw that with the dirty brass. So, I mean, this is literally what's inside of electronic ballast. You got copper, aluminum, stuff like that. But then we have stuff like this. I need to cut chunks of brass. I need to liberate off of here. You know. A couple more things, but that's pretty much it for this bin. What I'm going to do is kind of clean the table off, and the transformers and stuff like that, I'm just going to keep adding up, and I'm going to bring over another bin and see what else we got. See if we can't get through these bins. This is what we got out of the first bin. Some number 2 insulated, number 2 copper, brass, stainless steel. I've been throwing the electric motors and the ballast in here because I need to find a bin. That's basic iron and aluminum. The compressor will go by itself. I might have more around here. Number 1 insulated. We pretty much almost got a full bin of sheets that doesn't weigh much. The cast bucket is, you know, getting in there. This is the irony, the prepared steel, and we had 2 barrels of steel actually. But hey, that's 1 bucket down. We got a little copper in the bucket, some aluminum, stuff ready to go. Still got some more processing. Got a bunch of little motors and transformers to go through, and I will strip some of that bigger wire. These nuggets back here and whatnot, and I'm going to gather up all the wire because I have some wire in the trailer, which you'll see in the next video, that we're going to be stripping. And I want to break everything down. I might have another compressor or 2 laying around here. We'll do all of them at once. Yeah, we're just going to keep on scrapping, so stay tuned because I just went and picked up some big, it's either 500 or 600 MCM, so stay tuned for that. I'll tell you where we're going, right to the scrap yard.
dancing. You ever seen your copper dance before?